Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and I hope you had a great global running day yesterday. If you're tuning in the day this episode went live, Thursday, June 7th, 2018, yesterday was June 6th, 2018, and Global Running Day. So if you missed out on that, you can always go for a run today, and I highly recommend you check out yesterday's episode of the Fit 15, a special episode where I had listeners and fans and clients share their stories about why they love running and what running means to them, and I think it was pretty inspirational. I know I'm a little bit of a sentimental runner, so I might be biased, but I hope it will inspire you to pick up running again, or maybe start running, or just go for that run today feeling a little bit more inspired. So speaking of running, today's guest is also a runner, and she was on the podcast on Tuesday of this week to talk about her women's running club, Arete, that she created with her friend Melissa. During that episode, we talked about the running club itself and how it's impacted the women who have been a part of it and what the plans are for the running club in the next few years. So I definitely encourage you to head back to that episode and learn more about Mary Wright and Arete. As we were chatting, we started talking more about the process of building a business from scratch. So Arete just started in 2016, 2 years ago, and many of you know that I have a fitness company that started 5 years ago. So Mary and I had this great conversation, and she said I could share this as a second episode with you. So I hope you enjoy it. I know many of you are entrepreneurs who listen because you're my friend, and that's the circle that I find myself in. And some of you are also my friends from my past career as an educator, and Mary was also an educator as well. So I hope this gives you some insights and inspires you to maybe take the next steps in your side hustle, your next venture. All right, back to my conversation with Mary, part 2. So Mary, you talked about the concept of Arete being living to your full potential and having a balance of different things in your life in order to do that. So could you talk about that a little bit and how Arete came to be given the full life that you lead?
Okay, yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think the way a big part of the reason it's grown and been so successful in some ways is kind of the nature of my life and my friend Melissa's life. I have 3 little kids, and at the time I was teaching full time, and she's the founder of She Is Beautiful series. So our lives are just very full, and we believe that running is such an important aspect of giving us that space in our mind and in our life to just be free and pursue athletic goals and have time for yourself, where it's just for you and for dreaming and connecting to yourself and your teammates. So I feel like whether or not people are moms or have careers, a lot of people can really relate to that, and the desire to push themselves and train for a race and just kind of unlock their potential. So I feel like that's been a common thread amongst the women in all the chapters, which has really allowed it to grow.
Very cool. So just getting the running club started, you were at the time like transitioning out of working in education, and this was kind of your passion project. You also had or still have, you were raising your 3 kids. How were you able to do that? What are some tips for people wanting to maybe do something similar?
Gosh. When we started, it was never my goal to be like, this is what I'm going to do forever. But everything, and it's still in the process, but things just kept falling into place, or kept, not that things just fall into place. I had to work
Right.
really hard to make everything happen. Um, but I would say, and who knows, maybe I might dabble in education in the future because I do enjoy it.
Hmm.
But I would say, for anyone who wants to pursue a passion in a way that is like a side hustle or a full-time gig, like just keep following curiosity,
Mm.
their curiosity, and just keep going there. And for me, a big thing has been surrounding myself with mentors
Sure.
and people who really believe in me and the vision. And for me, a huge mentor in my life has been Melissa, who co-founded it with me because she's been there. And not even necessarily people who are doing the same things, but people who have like done the hustle.
Right.
Surround yourself with them. And there's, you probably know, but there's always people that are going to doubt you and question you and like kind of roll their eyes, and you just have to, whatever, that's their problem. So,
Right. Right.
I mean, I think that's been a big thing, and just keep forging ahead
Yep.
and then doing what you need to do to make ends meet so that you can keep pursuing the passion project until it becomes something. And also patience, which is, I think, really hard for a lot of more type A women like
Yep.
us,
Yep.
is like you want something instantly, but it takes so much time. And that's been, I think, a huge lesson for me on all this is you just have to be patient, and not everything is going to work out, and you just have to try and just keep going and surround yourself by good people who support you.
I love that, and I couldn't agree more. I've had the same experience myself. My company just turned 5 last month, and while I did completely step aside from another career, actually a career as an educator, to pursue my business full time, looking back, I can see that I didn't really need to do that because the growth has
Hmm.
been slow, and more importantly, the idea I had for my business in year one is not what my business is today. And I think that is for the best because it's been able to grow based on what the needs of my clients have been and really be able to serve people versus just. Hi, friends, it's Catherine. And if you are joining us and only have time for a 15-minute out and back walk, that sound was your cue to turn around. You're halfway through 15 minutes. All right, back to our conversation. Some random idea that I thought might be a good idea.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it seems like when there's this slow growth, there's less pressure.
Right.
And it's like you have the time to sit back and see what it is, what you want it to become, and you can make tweaks along the way and listen to feedback. So I think that's been really important, is just to like watch it, not put pressure on it, and then know when to kind of make a little bit of a risky move and be okay if it doesn't work out, but just kind of see what will happen. So I think
Sure.
that's a really good, healthy approach for those kind of things.
And I can't help but think about this as we're talking, but isn't this kind of the same approach that we really need to give our running journeys as well, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like a metaphor for everything. It's, you see a lot of people who see a little bit of success in running, and they're like, okay, now I want the next PR. Now I want a PR by 10 minutes again.
Right.
But running is just, you be patient, and sometimes you're going to get slower the next race, and that's just part of the journey. So a great example is CIM in December. I was hoping for a big PR,
Mm.
and I wasn't necessarily being very patient, and I had PR'd by like a minute or so, which is great. And I think the example from that is I was disappointed at first, but in reality, it was an improvement. And I think that's a great reminder for us in whatever we're doing, whether it's pursuing some kind of athletic pursuit or entrepreneurial gig, is just seeing little tiny improvements along the way. And then also having a friend who can act as a cheerleader for you and help you stand back and see how you've grown, I think is a really important supportive network to have.
Yeah, and I love how Arete kind of combines those two things, right? Because no matter what you're working on in the rest of your life, whether you are trying to start a business or not, just having that supportive running buddy can be helpful for your running goals and life goals. And that's why I love fitness so much because
Yeah, it's like a microcosm of life. There's
yeah,
just so many little nuggets that you can take from running and Arete, and so it's been healthy and hard and all those great things. So it's been wonderful.
very cool, very cool. Well, I'm excited to keep seeing you girls grow the company and grow the running club. And could you mention more? I'm really excited about the remote part because my fitness
Mhm.
company is kind of a remote fitness company. Like we do sessions
Mhm.
over to a video chat to help people that are, either they're traveling or they
Yeah.
can't get to the gym. So I think it'd be great for them to learn about, something like that. Just, until they have their chapter in their city.
Right. So, and I'm listening for ideas on this too. So maybe some
Sure.
of your listeners have ideas for me. But our remote team really grew organically from people who were reaching out to me or other people on our team saying, "Hey, do they have a team in Brooklyn, New York, or wherever?" And the answer was no.
Sure.
And we don't have these teams in these other locations. But they said, "But I want to be a part of the community." So we created this remote team because we do want these women to feel the support and the inspiration of so much of what's going on online, on our forums and on our social media. And they received workouts just like everyone else does through videos from me. And then they also have a team leader who kind of
Mm,
organizes them. And our hope eventually is that we will have a chapter at each of these locations where our remote team members are so that they actually have people to train with in person. But for now, they're getting workouts and they're meeting us at, some of them are meeting us at some of our big meetup races like Boston,
mm.
Mountains to Beach, CIM. So it's kind of like an online inspiration workout community who then hopefully meets in person. So that's kind of where we are at right now with the remote team.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then for the chapters, when you go and you end up doing your workouts based on local races,
Mhm.
like how, like, do you have
Mhm.
certain distances you focus on, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now, what we've been doing is we have a 5K, 10K track. So people who are choosing to train for 5Ks or 10Ks, and then we have a half marathon track and a marathon track.
Okay.
So, um, at most of the locations, they have either one of those shorter races or a longer race, and they choose to train for one of those races and they choose a path. And, at some point they can switch over and say, okay, well, now I'm going to do a marathon, and they can go do the marathon training. So that's kind of how it's worked out. And it's been really good. And there's different times a year where everyone, for the most part, many people are training for Wharf to Wharf, which is a race in Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the people in Santa Cruz are training for that, and they're not doing a half marathon or marathon. So it just kind of depends on the time of year and the chapter. So the location, what they want to train for.
Yeah, I mean that's really cool. Is that a piece that kind of evolved as you were following,
Yeah.
how
It did. And so that was a feedback piece too from people. I think at first we were all kind of doing the same thing. And I realized, well, actually that can't really work that way because if you're training for a marathon, you need to do different work than if you're training for a shorter distance. So that evolved through that. And then also we try to keep as much as we can. We like people to do similar workouts wherever they're located because it's really fun for people to connect over about like, hey, I just did 12 400s just like you did.
Right, right.
And I live on the other side of the country. So it's cool to do some of the similar workouts when it works out. But of course, depending on what people are training for, they might be doing completely different things.
Yeah, that's super cool. And anything else that's kind of progressed that we didn't touch base on yet that has been something that feedback
Um,
from the members or
I don't know. We were just talking about yesterday. We just have the coolest women on our team. They're just so diverse. We have like, doctors and horse trainers and just all kinds of interesting people
Yeah.
diverse people that have found their way here. And I think that's just so awesome. Just this community that's been created. So yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's exciting. And it's fun to see where it's going. And yeah, we have the most awesome partners. So lots of women-owned businesses we've connected with, and So yeah, it's just exciting. It's a very exciting startup time right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then we shared this in your previous episode, but
hmm
any notes on where people can go to find the running club?
Yes. Yeah, you can find us on Instagram, runarete.com, Instagram, runarete, RUNARET, and our website, runarete.com, and you can always email us at info@runarete.com.
Very cool. Well, thanks again for being on the show, Mary, and sharing more about the running club. And I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that we get one here in Southern
We'll
California soon.
see. Thank you so much for having me. It was really
Thanks for
fun.
listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hey friends, it's Catherine, and if you love this episode, don't forget that Mary and I chatted earlier this week, so head on back to the show notes to find our first episode together. Loving the show? Please leave us a rating and review over on iTunes and or Stitcher to make my day. And if you are enjoying it, make sure you don't forget to subscribe, because if you do, I will chat with you again tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Bye.